Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to Championship Plaza, on the Winnipeg Jets. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie, Parise in Wisconsin, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Vinnie, what a victory last night. It was just a complete game by the New Jersey Devils.
It has been a long time since the Devils dominated a game like that. I mean, I'm talking from beginning to end. Evgeny Malkin gave the Pittsburgh Penguins a 1-0 lead. At that point in time, we're like, okay, how's this game going to go? But from pretty much that point on, the Devils were the better team by far. They outshot them by a lot. They outplayed them in their own zone. They defended well. They kept Sidney Crosby relatively mute for the entire game. Malkin had the 2 goals, which, you know, one of those 2 guys is going to have their cake most games. But for the most part, the Devils had an outstanding game. Nico Hischier had probably his best game of the season. We saw Dougie Hamilton, you know, extend his team lead in power play goals. I mean, this team is firing on all cylinders. They were good shorthanded. They were good on the power play. They were good at even strength. They got pretty good goaltending from Vitek Vanacek. It was just one of those games where the Devils had it, and it pretty much had it all game. And now they're able to come home and play on the second half of a back-to-back. So it's an exciting time right now.
Definitely an exciting time. What excites me about this team, Vinnie, is they're never out of it. Just when you think, okay, slow start to the game, Penguins up 1-0, the Devils have a tendency this season, a quick strike offense, kind of a reaction or kind of making a statement after the other team scores a goal that they strike right back. I mean, Dawson Mercer's goal was huge. 90 seconds later, we've seen it time and time again. It just seems like this team has a knack of just, scoring at the right time. And I think that's one big positive thing with this young team is they don't get down on themselves like they used to in the last few years.
No, and that comes with experience over time. 2 straight games now, Dawson Mercer has scored a goal within, a minute or 2 of the other team taking a 1-0 lead. Well, one of the games went well last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and one of them didn't go well a couple nights ago against the St. Louis Blues. That's going to happen. Both times the Devils showed fight after going down 1-0. It worked out for them once. It didn't another time. But, the way that they played yesterday, I think is a testament to, like, this young team. Like, hey, we can score whenever we want. We're in every game. We're not going to win every game. No NHL team does. The greatest teams of all time have lost a couple games. And as far as I know, nobody ever went 16-0 in the postseason either. So, you're going to lose games here and there, but the Devils are always in it. They always have a chance for the most part. They very rarely ever get blown out, but it had been a while since they blew out a team. And, a lot of the good teams in the NHL have a blowout every now and then. The Devils, they got theirs yesterday against the Penguins. That game, it was 5-2 after the Hischier empty net goal. But I'll tell you, that game wasn't even as close as 5-2 would suggest. They could have easily beat them 7-3, 8-3 if they would have, had a little bit extra goal or 2. So, when you play like that, you're going to have really good chances to win. And I'll tell you what, having Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier on the same team on team-friendly contracts is one of the bigger blessings the Devils have ever had in their history. We know what Hischier's capable of as a two-way player, but what you saw yesterday is him at the height of his powers in terms of offense. He's an outstanding, outstanding player. He does whatever he needs to do for his team to win. Is he ever going to have a 100-point season? Maybe not. Maybe he does have 1 or 2 in there. He'll probably be in the 70s at some point this season. Jack Hughes, another 2 points for him. He's on a 10-game games he's played in streak. Yep, exactly. Sharangovich. Yep, exactly. And all these guys are chipping in. But with Hischier and Hughes, you got 2 guys down the middle like that. They were playing against the Penguins, who we've seen for all these years have their 2-headed monster down the middle. The Devils are starting to see their 2-headed monster really form. One thing I realized yesterday is so the Boston Bruins are the best team in the NHL, right? And a lot of people would agree with that, and the standings would as well. Heischer, Bratt, and Hamilton would all be Boston's second leading scorer. You know, they have some real superstars on this team, the Devils, and as their depth starts to fill in over the next couple years, they're going to continue to be dangerous. So now we got a fun one tonight against the Winnipeg Jets, who are 9-0-1 in their last 10 games against the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, and I believe Hallebuck is in net tonight, and the Winnipeg Jets are a very good team. Getting back to Vitek Vanacek, the New Jersey Devils goaltender, I mean, I think Washington would probably want him back now. I mean, after watching last night's outdoor game, did you get a chance to watch the outdoor game yesterday, Vinny?
Oh, yeah.
It was
I
spectacular.
pretty much watched the entire game.
It's spectacular. And I've always said that Raleigh, North Carolina is really South Jersey, because that's a lot of people from New Jersey migrate over to Raleigh, North Carolina. But the atmosphere was great. It had that college football atmosphere being at North Carolina State. But Darcy Kemper didn't look as good as Vitek Vanacek last night at all. Looked a little lost up there. I know it's an outdoor game.
It's an outdoor game, and it was against the Carolina Hurricanes, who are, in fact, one of the best teams in the NHL. They're one of the few teams ahead of the Devils in the overall standings. But, I'm not going to sit here and, Darcy Kemper won the Stanley Cup last year. He was the Stanley Cup winning goalie. Only one guy gets to say that every single year. So, it's not like Darcy Kemper's this bad goaltender. I'm not shaming him. Vitek Vanacek is just in a good spot right now. He's playing for a team where he's the guy. They play well in front of him. They're fast. They defend pretty well. I know Siegenthaler was a healthy scratch, which we didn't know was going to happen when we did the Game Day Live as a pre-record. But I'll tell you what, Vitek Vanacek, he's in the spot he needs to be in right now. I'm not certain he'd be putting up these numbers on that Capitals team that can't defend, and Ovechkin Russia dealing with some family business. They haven't had Backstrom for most of the year. He's finally back. Tom Wilson's been injured, but he's back. So, the Eastern Conference is very interesting right now. 1 through 6 in the East would be the first place team in the Western Conference. So, it was cool. I'm happy that Vanacek is in the spot he's in, but there are a lot of good teams in the Eastern Conference to be worried about as we head forward.
Yeah, and our good friend of the podcast, Ryan Novozinski of NJ.com, tweeted out that the scouts in attendance tonight, the Sharks, the Coyotes, Blues, Oilers, Golden Knights, Lightning, Kraken, Predators. The whole Timo Meier thing is intriguing. You think that Tom Fitzgerald's going to actually get a deal within the next week? Or do you think Carolina is going to kind of swoop in at the last second?
I think anything's possible with Timo Meier. He's missing from practice today. They're calling it a lower body injury, I think, for him. But I don't know if I necessarily buy that. I don't buy anything.
I don't buy it at all. I think they want.
Yeah.
I think they want to keep protect their asset from any kind of what they say in legal terms, force majeure, meaning an accident happening beyond their control. They don't want to take any chances right now.
Yeah, and I can also confirm that the Devils have a scout in Chicago tonight between the Devils and Maple Leafs, or between the Blackhawks and Maple Leafs. And so I don't know, the Devils and Leafs probably aren't striking a deal, but the Blackhawks have a couple depth defensemen that I think would look really nice in New Jersey Devils red. Talking guys like Jake McCabe or Connor Murphy. If the Devils wanted to add some speed to the bottom six, Andreas Athanasiou is a name I've heard out there, and I think he'd fit in really well with some of the speed that the Devils, like if he played with Mercer right now, I think that would, form a really good combo. I like Athanasiou. I've watched him play a lot this year. So the Devils, they have all these scouts in attendance for their game. Well, they're sending out scouts across the rest of the league as well, and we'll see what happens. The Blackhawks are going to be big-time sellers, so having the Devils with a scout there, I do think that's good news. We'll see what happens.
Speaking of the Blackhawks, did you see Jonathan Taves' statement? Still, it's kind of sad. Those that don't know, Jonathan Taves is battling long COVID and the symptoms and is taking a break. To try to get himself better. Just reading that statement, it tells you how serious things are with Jonathan Taves.
Yeah, and he's dealt with that other thing. I forget what they're calling it, the respiratory thing that he deals with too. He dealt with that the entire, the short season he didn't play. But, Taves, he was on the trade block as well, but he's making 10.5. I don't know if a team's giving up assets for a guy that may or may not play. So, I'm not necessarily going to be shocked if he's not traded, just especially because of the health thing that's come out lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really, really scary.
Yeah, definitely scary. Get back to the Devils. Mackenzie Blackwood, is he in that tonight or is it Vanacek? Did they even announce it yet?
They haven't announced it yet, but I can look into it and see if, while we've been on air, someone has said something. I'm assuming it's Blackwood. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be Blackwood, but
yeah. You think he's auditioning, or do you think he stays, Mackenzie Blackwood?
I think he stays, personally. That's just my personal opinion. The Devils should be adding, not subtracting. Schmid has been good, but so is Blackwood. And the Blackwood-Vanacek tandem has been working all season long. They're second in the Metropolitan Division. They have the best player in the Metropolitan Division now. I truly think Jack Hughes is the best player in the Metropolitan Division. The only one who you can argue is Zibanejad, Panarin, and Crosby. Those are the guys, but I think it's Jack Hughes. You have this sort of recipe that works. I think you add a depth forward, or if you add Timo Meier, that's more than depth forward. But, outside of Timo Meier, you add a depth defenseman, maybe a depth forward, and you have your team going into the playoffs with the number 2 prospect farm in the league and, a really deep draft this year. If they don't trade their first-round pick, they'll get another really good prospect to add to the mix. Yeah, I wouldn't trade Blackwood personally because you can never have too much goaltending. If they trade Blackwood and then Vitek Vanacek goes down with an injury, you're heading into the playoffs with Akira Schmid. Listen, I love Akira Schmid. He's been great. But I'm not feeling all that confident in a playoff series if it's Akira Schmid versus Igor Shesterkin, right? Let's call it what it is. I would keep as many good goaltenders as I can.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Vinny, I think the tandem is actually working. I think they complement each other. I mean, I think Blackwood, has held his own. Definitely two different styles. Vanacek more of an athletic goaltender, where Mackenzie Blackwood's more of a butterfly and goaltender. And I just think that right now, I think the Devils they need to beef up on the defense. I know we've talked about Meier, and I've been saying it over and over and over again, but I think depth is important. I think the one player that's really come on since the All-Star break, Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves and John Marino, that pairing, that's really started. That's a shutdown pairing right now.
Yeah, it is for sure. And I think having guys like that is important. Siegenthaler has been okay in the second half of this year so far. I think the healthy scratch is probably good for him, and I'm sure he'll draw back into the lineup tonight. But, if they can get that Siegenthaler back from last year, where he played with Severson for most of the year last year, I think that is something that Lindy Ruff may consider trying. And then you got to figure out who to put with Hamilton if you're putting Graves with Marino there. But, I'm not sure the Devils are going to empty the bucket this year for a depth defenseman, knowing that you have Luke Hughes and Nemec on the way. And that they don't have this outstanding forward they have good forward prospects. That's why they're second in the league in overall farm system. But there's no, Marco Rossi. Alexander Holtz is their top forward prospect, and he's a big question mark right now. So, you might trade for a Timo, but defenseman, let's wait for Nemec and Luke Hughes, man. Those guys are going to be sick.
Yeah, definitely. They are going to be sick, and you know what? They may be available in April. Again, I'm still a little. For me, Vinny, I'd rather go with veterans. at this point, but I understand, that they may be available. Luke Hughes out of Michigan and Nemitz could crack the lineup. I'm not so sure, but you know what? Right now, I think the top 6 pairings, what the Devils have. I mean, Siegenthaler's sitting out last night. Is that a sign? Is Lindy trying to say something, or do you think it's just Lindy just trying to shake it up a little bit?
I think Lindy was trying to, say something. I do. I do think he was trying to say something because Siegenthaler, he's been good, but he hasn't been the old Siegenthaler, like October, November, early December Siegenthaler. It's been a steady decline for him for most of this season. So, hopefully he's able to kind of take this personal. Like, yeah, I could get healthy scratch. It could happen to me. And I got to play at my best if I want to be in this lineup. This team is good. There's good defensemen on the way. This team's only getting younger as the defense at least is only going to get younger. And, I want to be worth my contract that I got. And for a while, he was worth more than the contract he got, and he looked like a steal. But, I'm still excited to get Siegenthaler back. I would take him in my top 4 any day of the week. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's talk predictions, Vinny.
Predictions. I came pretty close last game. I said 5-3. It was 5-2. Or no, you said 5. Did you say 5-3?
I said 5-3. I said 5-3. You said 3-2. Yeah, I almost came close.
You're the one who came.
If it wasn't for Vanacek, I would have had it.
Yeah, really. I mean, he made us another save late in the game on, I think it was Crosby, and I think he had one on Jake Gensel too. That was like, oh wow, that was good. But as far as today, these predictions, I think the Devils snap this long, annoying losing streak that they have to the Winnipeg Jets. 9-0-1 in their last 10 against the Devils are the Jets. You know what the 0-1 game is, that annoying opening night game where the Devils were winning and they blew it. That will never leave my brain when the Devils play the Jets. It's time to avenge that loss and win this game 4-2.
Okay. I'm looking at the YouTube live right now. Dave Singer says 3-2 Devils in overtime. Max says 5-3 Devils. Ramona says 4-2 Devils. Shane Van Sickle says 5-4 Devils. Max reminds us that Blackwood is in net. And now everyone's changing their predictions. Just kidding. Felix says 4-1 Devils. Steve Engel says 3-2 Jets. Because he's a Ranger fan, Steve Engel. He's just turned into a Ranger fan. In YouTube Live. Select the Boys says 5-3 Devils. I think it's going to be 3-1 Devils. That's my prediction.
Very good. That's a good prediction. Hopefully that comes true.
Yeah. Just a reminder, Devils After Dark after the game. Scotty of Sirius XM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. I'll be back in the bunker for after the game. AJ Bravo says 2-1 Devils. Who cares what Cornhole says in the YouTube Live? Anyway, just remember, February 25th, American Whiskey. It will be the site of our 500,000 party, celebrating our 500,000 downloads of this podcast. It's going to be an exciting time. Scotty of Sirius XM Liquid Metal just got a last-second flight from L.A. to New Jersey that night. DJ Shelley will be here. We have our DJ here. We're going to just be celebrating Vinnie. Nick Villano will be here. Also, Beer Baron and Shorts Guy as well. It's going to be a great time here at American Whiskey. And just looking at the comments again. Any last thoughts, Vinnie?
Yeah, the Devils haven't lost to a Canadian team this season. Let's keep it going. Like, they have no
Is
reason
that right?
to lose to the Jets.
Both home and
they are undefeated
road?
against home and road.
Wow.
They haven't lost to a Canadian team. Oh, no. I'm wrong. I forgot about that Leafs game. It's all on the road.
Yeah,
They're
but
undefeated on the road.
that doesn't count, that Leafs game.
Yeah, I forgot about the Leafs game. It popped in my head right last second, so I saved myself from sounding completely dumb, which I sound completely dumb anyway all the time. But I do think it's a good way to make sure you beat every Canadian team at least once. Go get it done at home tonight against the Jets.
Yeah. All righty. And do they play the Jets in Winnipeg this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mark that on your calendar because I think that's the last of the Canadian teams on the road where the New Jersey Devils may annex the country of Canada very soon. All right, I want to thank all those listening, watching. Remember, February 25th, American Whiskey, the site of our $500,000 party. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have specials that night. Taylor hamburgers, off the menu items. We've got white and red sangria for $8. And also playoff beard. Get a pint, $8 here at American Whiskey on February 25th. We just announced the specials. And again, the Taylor ham, pork roll burgers will be on hand that night. Till next time, let's go Devils.